She thought cutting one cable would shut me down, but she had no idea who she was messing with. It started on a quiet Tuesday morning. The air was still, and the sound of the neighborhood sprinklers filled the street, until the buzz of a chainsaw sliced through everything. I stepped out of my garage just in time to see her, Karen, standing on the edge of my lawn yelling orders to two workers. They were digging right next to the utility pole that carried my fiber line. "Ma'am, that's private property," I called out, keeping my tone calm. She didn't even turn her head. "This cable is an eyesore. HOA approved its removal. IOA." Those three letters had been a nightmare since the day I moved here. She was the self-appointed president, even though no one actually voted for her. And apparently, now she was taking her fake authority to the next level. I walked closer. "That line connects directly to the local police station." "You cut it, and you're cutting their emergency link," Karen smirked. "Don't lie. You're not that important. You're just some guy with too many cameras." She snapped her fingers, and one of the workers sliced the fiber clean. A faint spark flew, and in that second, every monitor in my control room went black. The cameras, the link, the secured comms, all offline. She laughed, loud enough for the entire street to hear. "Maybe now you'll learn who runs this neighborhood." But I didn't flinch. I just looked at the dark screen and whispered, "You just cut a federal line." 4 minutes later, she heard the sirens. But not from the police, from my house. My backup network had already rerouted the data through the federal secure channel. Her action had triggered an alert straight to Homeland Security, the same system I helped design before I retired. Karen froze as 3 black SUVs turned into the cul-de-sac. Her smug smile vanished. She tried to back away, muttering something about a misunderstanding, but the agents didn't look convinced. And as the lights reflected off her shocked face, I said quietly, "You wanted power, Karen. Congratulations, now you're on a federal database." Karen's confidence cracked the moment those SUVs stopped in front of my driveway. She took a few shaky steps back, her voice trembling now. This must be some mistake. I was just doing community maintenance." The lead agent stepped out, Agent Cole, a face I hadn't seen since my federal days. His gaze swept across the scene before landing on me. "Didn't think I'd see you here, Commander," he said quietly, his tone half amused, half serious. Karen blinked. "Commander, what is he talking about?" Cole ignored her and crouched near the broken fiber line. "She really cut the main route?" "Straight through it," I said. Didn't even ask what it was. "Claimed HOA rights," Cole sighed and waved to his team. "Secure the area." "Mark this line as federal property." Karen's voice went up an octave. "Federal? You've got to be kidding me. This is a residential neighborhood." "He's lying." Cole turned toward her, calm but firm. "Ma'am, this cable is part of an encrypted law enforcement network. Cutting it is a federal offense." Her eyes widened, panic finally setting in. No, I didn't know. He should have put up a sign." I couldn't help but smirk. "You tore down the sign last week, remember? Said it ruined the neighborhood aesthetic." Cole's agent started taking photos. Karen kept talking, desperate now. "He's using this for personal gain. He's spying on us." I looked at her, my patience gone. "If I wanted to spy, Karen, you'd never even know." She gasped, and I could see her trying to think of something, anything, to regain control. But the flashing lights behind me made it clear she'd lost that battle. Still, I wasn't interested in watching her get arrested just yet. Something felt off. One of the agents leaned closer to Cole. "Sir, you'll want to see this. The line wasn't just cut, it was tapped." Cole's face hardened. "Tapped? By who?" The agent hesitated. "Not by her workers. Someone else had a device spliced in, hidden inside the junction box." Karen looked completely lost. "Tapped? What are you talking about? I don't even know what that means." But my gut twisted. This wasn't just HOA nonsense anymore. Someone else was involved. And if they tapped the police line, that meant they wanted eyes inside law enforcement communications. Cole met my gaze. "You think this was an accident?" I shook my head slowly. "No, Karen's just the distraction," he frowned. "Then who's the real target?" I looked past him, toward the hill behind the neighborhood where a maintenance van sat parked since morning. The same van that hadn't moved once. "Not who?" I said quietly. "What?" Cole followed my line of sight to the hill. The white van sat perfectly still, Engine off, no markings, no plates. Just a faint glint on its windshield like someone was watching us. He muttered, "You think they're still in there?" "I'd bet on it," I said, my voice low. "That van's been sitting there since 6 a.m. I thought it belonged to utility workers until Karen showed up with her fake crew." Karen shook her head wildly. No, those men came to help me. They said they were from the cable company." Cole turned to her sharply. "And you didn't check credentials?" She stammered. They had vests." "I thought federal agents wear vests too," I cut in. "Doesn't make them real." Cole gave a signal, and 2 agents immediately started moving up the hill, rifles lowered but ready. Karen kept mumbling, pacing, her voice cracking. I didn't know. I watched the van, tension crawling up my spine. A flicker inside, movement, then slam. The driver's door burst open, and a man in a gray hoodie bolted toward the woods. "Contact! North side!" one of the agents shouted. Cole's team reacted instantly, spreading out, chasing through the trees. I didn't wait. My body moved before I thought. I grabbed my old comms device from the shelf inside my garage and switched to the encrypted frequency I hadn't touched in years. Control. This is Echo 2 requesting aerial visual on Zone Delta. Possible data breach suspect on foot, the line crackled. A calm voice replied, "Echo 2, confirmation received. Drone eyes in 60 seconds, Karen's jaw dropped. "Who are you?" I didn't answer. The drone feed flickered onto my tablet, live from above the tree line. The suspect was fast, cutting between properties, heading straight toward the back fence that bordered the town's main power substation. Cole's voice came through the feed. "He's going for the relay box. If he uploads from there..." "I know," I said, already moving. I sprinted across the street, down the slope, feeling that old rush I hadn't felt since my last mission. Karen called out behind me, "You can't go there, it's restricted." I laughed under my breath. So am I. As I reached the fence, I saw the suspect climbing the side. He turned just once, his face covered, but I caught a glimpse of the small badge on his belt. Not local. Not police. Not even civilian. Cole caught up, panting. "You saw it too?" "Yeah," I said. "This isn't some hacker." "That was a federal ID," Cole froze. "So, one of ours?" I shook my head slowly. "No, someone pretending to be." The ground trembled slightly. The substation just powered up its surge lines. And in that hum of electricity, I realized this wasn't sabotage. It was cover. Someone had used Karen's chaos to hide something much bigger. Cole looked at me confused. "What do you mean, cover?" I stared at the humming grid and said, "They didn't come to cut the line. They came to connect to something else." Cole's expression darkened as realization hit him. "Connect to what?" I pointed toward the substation's control panel where a faint red light blinked. Steady, rhythmic, deliberate. "That's not part of the grid," I said. "It's transmitting." Before we could move, the drone feed lit up. A small burst of static, then silence. The suspect was gone. The signal from the van went dark too. Karen stood frozen behind the agents, face pale. "I didn't mean for any of this." I finally turned to her. "You didn't start it." "You were just the match." Cole pulled out his radio. "We're locking down the area. Nothing in or out until we trace that signal, but I already knew where it led." "You'll find the relay bouncing through the backup network, mine," I said. "Whoever they are, they tried to piggyback on a federal route to reach Homeland servers." Cole's eyes widened. "They used your system?" "Almost," I said quietly. "But I cut it first." For a moment, everything went still, sirens fading, wind carrying the burnt smell of fried cables. Then, from the distance, the van exploded in a muffled flash, fire licking through the trees. Whoever was inside had just erased their tracks. Karen screamed. Cole shouted orders, and I just stood there watching the smoke rise. "Guess your HOA project turned out bigger than expected," I said softly. Karen trembled. Am I going to jail?" I met her eyes. "No, but maybe next time, don't play leader on land you don't understand." Cole placed a hand on my shoulder. "We'll handle the rest, Commander. You've done enough." I nodded and walked back toward my house. The security monitors blinked back to life one by one. Everything was online again, except the trust I once had in this quiet neighborhood. As the sun set behind the trees, I looked at the flickering screen showing the backup network status. A single message flashed across it. Connection attempt detected. Source unknown. I smiled faintly. Round 2 then, and with that, the feed went black. The end.